All right, guys. I'm going to teach you section 1.2, fractions and algebra. All right, so we're going to start first by learning how to convert mixed numbers into improper fractions. So we're going to convert mixed numbers to improper fraction. So let's get started. So we have the mixed number 3 wholes and 4/5. So the way we do this is by first multiplying 3 times 5. Then we add 4 over the same denominator. So 3 times 5 is 15 plus 4 gives us 19 over 5. So this right here is called the improper fraction. Now we're going to go in the other direction. We're going to convert 39/4 to a mixed number. So the way we go the other way is how many 4s fit into 39, or the simple division that looks like this. How many 4s fit into 39? That's 9 times 4 is 36. Subtract, there's a remainder of 3. So how this looks like is 9 wholes. 3 is the remainder over always 4, the same denominator. All right, let's keep going. Now let's go over how to multiply fractions. Multiplication and division is very similar. It's simply done straight across. So let's take a look at an example. 3 2/3. We're going to multiply times 1 1/4. So guess what you guys have to do? First, let's start by changing it to an improper. So we do it the same way as before. 3 times 3, 9 plus 2 gives us 11 over 3. The second mixed number, 1 times 4 is 4 plus 1, 5/4. So how do we multiply fractions? Straight across. 11 times 5 is 55. 3 times 4 is 12. So this is called an improper fraction, which is perfectly fine. But if you want to change it to a mixed number, then it goes like this. How many 12s fit into 55, right? So that's 4 wholes. 12 times 4 is 48. There's a remainder of 7 over always the same denominator. And this is also a perfectly good answer, which is called a mixed number. A mixed number or improper fraction is the same thing, okay? All right, now let's go over how to divide. So we divide fractions such as 2/3 divided by 7/15. Similar to how we multiply straight across. With division, the very first thing that we have to do is change it to multiplication. So we're going to do 2/3. The division sign now changes to multiplication. And we do the reciprocal of the second fraction. And then you multiply straight across. But the thing that I notice here is that the 3 and the 15 can be reduced. So how many 3's go into 3? How many 3's go into 15? They reduce by the same common factor. Once we reduce it, we do 2 times 5, which is 10. 1 times 7 is 7. Again, this is a perfectly good answer, except that if we want it as a mixed number, we go this way. How many 7's go into 10? 1. There's 3 remaining over 7. 1 and 3/7. All right. Last couple of things is how to add and subtract fractions. Again, they're done very similar. Let's start by adding. So we're going to learn to add fractions. 1/5 plus 3/4. So the idea on addition and subtraction of fraction is always to have the same common denominator. We usually call that the LCD, lowest common denominator. So what we're going to do between the denominator 5 and 4, the LCD, hopefully you guys can figure that out, is 20. So we want this 5 to be a 20. We multiply this by 4, and we gotta also do it on the top. The 3/4, we need to change the 4 to a 20 by multiplying by 5, right? So once we do that, 1 times 4 is 4, 5 times 4 is 20, 3 times 5 is 15, and 4 times 5 is 20. Like I said, denominators have to be the same. In this case, they are. Now all we do is add numerators and keep the same denominator, and we get our answer. Now here, the numerator is smaller than the denominator. We cannot be changing it to a mixed number. We gotta leave it like that. Okay, the last thing that we're gonna do is we're going to subtract fractions. Again, the idea is gonna be very similar. We need to have the same denominators. All right, so how do we do this? First, change it to improper, right? So 3 times 6 plus 1. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 gives us 19/6. 1 times 12 is 12, plus 11 gives us 23/12. So as you guys can see, we don't have the same denominator. Can you guys figure out the LCD? The LCD should be 12. We need to change that 6 to a 12 by multiplying by 2. Don't forget the top and the bottom. The second fraction already has a 12 under it, so we don't change anything. 19 times 2 is 38/12. And I changed it to a addition here by mistake. It's still a subtraction. And it's minus 23/12. We subtract those two numbers, 38 and 23, we get 15/12. Can you guess what we can do here? It hasn't happened before on the other examples, but here you guys can see that we can reduce the fractions by a common factor of 3. We simplify, reduce the fraction. Always you have to do that. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. 12 divided by 3 is 4. This is a perfectly good answer, or as a mixed number, we get 1 and 1/4. Alrighty, guys. So this is a touch-up, a refresher on fractions.